Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hey, this is Rob Chardy, Old Guy Tech TV interviews, and I have the honor today on April 21, 2014 to have Winston Pingrey with me running for Supervisor in District 4. Is that right, Winston?
That is correct. Thank you very much for having me here,
Well,
Rob.
thanks for coming. I really do appreciate it. And I always start these shows out with the statement of thank you for running. Our political system is set by people like you willing to come out and say, I'm going to put my life out there, but I have these ideas and I would like to be your supervisor. So thank you very much for running, because without people like you running, where would we be? And then I always add on there, of course, that some of the younger people feel disenfranchised in voting, and I tell them you can't get any better than in a local election to make your vote count. So.
Well, I agree. This is very important. A local election is just as important or more so than our state and federal elections.
That's right. It's so important that we pick our supervisors, our judges, our school board people, all the way down the line. It's important that you guys go out there and vote.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, but thank you. So why don't we start, let's do an introduction. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Winston?
Oh, wow. Well, you really didn't tell me how long of this that I'd be giving a background.
I give you 30 minutes to do the whole show.
Okay, we'll try to put it together. Just to give you a little background, because I have been here in this county the least amount of time of any of the people running, which is 14 years. And I feel that I've really come accustomed and appreciate what we have up here, and this is going to be where I'm going to live the rest of my life, hopefully. But I'm going to go way back real quick. Both my parents were born and raised in Kansas, met in San Diego, married in San Diego, moved to Washington, D.C., where my father had an operation, and they retired him from the Navy. He did a full career in the Navy. We ended up on a chicken ranch in Delaware, which my mother loved, my father didn't. So when they went off to the hospital giving birth to me, my dad says, we're going back to Southern California. So we went back to ended up landing in Riverside, where he had an uncle, World War I veteran, and I lived in the same house between being about 3 months old and 19 years old when I went in the Navy. So after my Navy time, I went on the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. No one else in my family had really been in law enforcement before, but I was very interesting, and I really had a great career. I met a lot of people, did a lot of things, but I did take advantage of that GI Bill. And I continued my education. Like I said, I only had 1 year when I decided to join the Navy. Just to kind of backtrack, I felt like at my house when I grew up, we raised our own chickens and rabbits and a lot of our own food. And I, being the oldest kid, I felt like, whoa, I had a real incentive to get a job. So I was a paper boy, and then a box boy, and then a checker. And I actually worked full-time, 40 hours a week my senior year and my first year of junior college, which was maddening.
Yes.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided with a friend of mine who I worked with, we would go in the Navy. Right now, it was a tough time right now with the Vietnam War going and everything. Yeah. So I went off and did that, and came back, got on the Sheriff's Department. It was a real experience. I had a great time. I continued my education, obtained my AA degree in police science and my BS in Juris Doctorate in law. And right away, the sheriff sent me off to teach at the Sheriff's Academy, and which was connected to Riverside Community College, where I began teaching then right in 1980, and I taught there until I moved up here. And the reason I stopped teaching is my wife worked for the state and took a transfer up here, and it's been very good for us as a family. I really enjoy the move up here. But teaching college was a very pleasant experience because I had elective classes. People wanted to be there. They were 18 to 80.
Isn't that nice? Somebody actually wanting to be in your class?
They all wanted to be there, and they all learned from each other at that age difference. It was just terrific. So then I went on, and some of my assignments near the end of my career was, I worked in narcotics. If you take a look at my website, you see some pretty silly pictures, basically, the way I looked from 76 to 80 and 83 to 84. Got promoted to sergeant in 84. And then went on. I was a SWAT sergeant for 4 years, and of course, all the people on my team were Army or Marines. I was the only Navy guy, and I wasn't a SEAL or anything like that. But they took good care of me. Also, the littlest guy on the team. Okay, so they retired.
Somebody has to be.
That's true. one of my assignments was school resource officers in Dare. It was a management position. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
It was a real challenge to work with different school districts and different cities, and the county of Riverside all had their specific needs, and so I had to deal with management and scheduling and payroll, and it was a yearly thing. Basically, we had to try to agree how and what they were going to pay for their services.
Right.
So then, when I'd injured myself on the SWAT team the last year, and then it happened again a couple years later. And after my first back operation out of 3, they retired me, which my child was then 3, which was a little scary at the
Yikes.
time.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting my private investigator's license and did security there, and I was fine. It's a statewide license, but
Right.
then when my wife got the opportunity for a move up here with the Department of Justice Bureau of Narcotics Enforcement, we took advantage of that, and my licenses were statewide, so I came up here and I got involved with my kid in school. He started the 2nd grade at Blue Oak. I was on site council there the first year, the chair of that committee the 2nd year, and then I had an opportunity to go on the school board. So I've been on the Buckeye Union School District now for over 12 years.
Well, good for you.
I've served as the chair for 3 years.
Ah.
And the last 2 years I was appointed from our school district to be on the El Dorado County School Boards Association, which I've been there 2 years, and I'm their chair this year.
Wonderful.
Here we are.
Wonderful.
That's
and that's
quick
that's
summary.
in a synopsis.
Whoa.
Well, good. You did a great job, and I think it gives everybody an idea where you came from. So,
Thank you.
so I'm going to start out with, what do you think your main qualifications are for serving in a public office?
Well, you know what? I've had that experience with negotiating with different governmental agencies between school boards and city and county governments. I was a county employee. I really got very much involved with that the last over 4 years of my career. And I was my retirement party was one of those I was very proud to have both city council managers and city councilmen, and our county district person at my retirement party. It was really kind of a great experience. I had my law school dean arrive there. He actually married my wife and I on top of Mount Rubidoux in Riverside.
That's cool.
He is still alive. He's 93. Scary thought, but
Good.
just a real gentleman.
Good for him.
But my experience down there was great. Up here now, I put it to work as soon as I could with the school district, and was involved with my kid in Little League. I was on the Ponderosa Little League board for 6 years as a manager and as a board member, and enjoyed the growth and that I saw the children do. And I'm still very much involved with athletics. First time we got up, we joined the membership at the gym, and I have met many people that have worked for city, county government that also do their thing at the In Shape gym there near where I live in Cameron Park.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, what, with your district, when you guys look at that map of that district, it's an odd duck the way it goes. What do you think are the most important issues facing your district?
Well, in my district, just like the rest of them, but maybe even more so, is jobs. We
Right.
really do not have many businesses there. We have a lot of small businesses. A lot of them have tried to make it there and have not made it. We don't really have enough jobs for the people to be able to live in this district and work here. Very few of them do. A lot of them have tried and not made it. We enjoy it because my wife works in Sacramento, and she makes that drive every day too, but we
Right.
wouldn't give up the opportunity we had to live up where we do. And I live right near the end of the borderline there near Cameron Park Drive. It's called Shingle Springs, kind of / Cameron Park.
Right.
But the jobs, we've got to be able to find more jobs, and we've got to encourage and give incentives to big and small businesses to find their way up here. That can be done with, you'll probably get to some questions later on, but the TIM fee should be lowered. There's some other things that we need to do to make it more enticing for them to invest up here. We do have places, some people are concerned that are box stores we don't want because it'll put a lot of people out of business, but people like Walmart and people like Home Depot, I have 2 kids there the same age as my son, who's 20. He's a third-year student at California Maritime Academy now, but his buddies, they're working at Home Depot, have great jobs, enjoy it. I have another friend that's 82 years old working here. So
Oh, yeah.
they hire the young and the old, and what I would hope to happen is that people in other areas that work in those 2 places like Walmart and Home Depot could find out about what a great place this would be to live, and they could actually move up here and have a job and not lose seniority and that sort of thing.
Wouldn't it be nice that I'd love to keep our kids up here, and one of the problems in El Dorado County, there just aren't the career type jobs. And there's nothing wrong with the Walmarts and the Home Depots. They're great places to start. And you know what? Some people make Home Depot a career type of situation. But I really think we need jobs that will create careers so that the family can stay near each other. And you touched on it just momentarily with the TIM fees. One of the things that that I've watched happen through the years, I've been here since '82, so I've been around for a while. I watched, we have this nice little business park that we built down here in El Dorado Hills, and we've had some wonderful opportunities to bring some larger companies into El Dorado County, only to have our supervisors go, why would I want to do anything for these guys? Full boat TIM fees, full boat planning fees, full EPA fees, no incentives whatsoever. Now, I had an opportunity, I've been here long enough, to watch Intel came into El Dorado County, said, we'd love to come to El Dorado County. What will you do for us? And of course, our far-sighted supervisor said, it's there, come if you want, but nothing. Where Folsom went, we'll give you water, we'll set up that hookup, we'll put in roads for you, we'll build you a fire station, and they went on and on and on. And it was a no-brainer. Folsom said, fine. No TIM fees, no taxes for 10 years, build what you want to build. And here we are. So I've seen it.
Very sad state of affairs. I had some experience with that down where I was I lived in a place called Moreno Valley. I worked in a place called Moreno Valley for a long time. They were very, very friendly to incoming because they could see the future in it. And actually we got crowded down there, and I know we don't want to be that crowded. But the idea that they did give incentives, and it brought some of these bigger companies out there, like the one, just for instance, that started up recently in Rockland. I guess it was the FedEx that put in a facility that's going to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's right.
Full-time jobs, about 160 people. Can you imagine what that would do?
Oh, yeah.
El Dorado County.
Oh, it would have been incredible.
I just recently worked at a place. They had a security problem at. I shouldn't mention the name maybe but they're a rest home, and the two of them are communicated with each other, and they're one of the larger employers here, and they run a great shop there.
Right.
We do have a lot of elderly, but there's people in there from 30 years old to 90 years old in there, so they're not all going to be there forever. There are people that are in there temporarily to rehab.
Sure.
We need to encourage places like that to come up into this county, and
absolutely.
If it takes tax breaks for 1 year, 2 years, maybe even 10 years, look what Intel has done for them.
Oh yeah, it was incredible what they gave back. And you mentioned medical. That's one of the areas that a number of the other people that are running have also mentioned. I think we have some wonderful opportunities in the medical field. This is a beautiful area for it, and we can build a beautiful research facility in El Dorado County, and we can be proactive. It just seems to me that in the past, and I'm not saying right now, because we have a wonderful opportunity coming into this election cycle to have some new blood, new thoughts, new opinions, and maybe some people that really do want to bring jobs into El Dorado County. I just think it's really important.
Well, I think it is too, because to be able to support our wonderful trails and our beautiful forests up there, we need to have money. And right now, a lot of the tax money that we're getting is from El Dorado Hills, and I do not see them becoming a city anywhere in the near future. They've tried before and it's failed.
Right.
But it's inevitable. Eventually they will become their own city. Right. And if we're now trying to support the rest of this county on the revenue we're taking in from the business in El Dorado Hills, we could be in trouble. We need to plan for the future.
Right. Oh, we absolutely do. And we do have to do, Texas came in here into California, and they actually went to businesses here in El Dorado County and said, this is what we'll do for you. Why don't you relocate? Believe it or not, a couple of our bigger businesses did. And it's a shame. It's just incredible how short-sighted it seems to be that, what's it going to cost us a little bit to reduce TIM fees or something to encourage people to come? I mean, you've got to be far-sighted, not myopic.
I this is where I'm going to live the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I would like to be able to see some of the things that we have grow steadily. Controlled, limited growth is what we need. And they come together. Houses come with businesses.
Exactly.
Not one really before the other. The more we can get them coming in here about the same time, the better off we are. That might be wishing for something more than we're going to be able to provide, but we then, as county board supervisors, we have the influence more so on the idea of influencing businesses to come in here and flourish and stay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am not saying taking the rural feel away from El Dorado County. I'm not saying put a big, huge factory right in the middle of Placer or Diamond Springs. I understand the difference between the two, but there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
You know, we can't be so short-sighted to think, oh, well, all we want are these little rural homes and we want no businesses in here. It can't be done. We've got to figure out a way of making this work. And you as voters out there have to figure out who's going to be able to, do that best for you. So why don't you give us a little idea about your philosophy on this?
Well, another thing that I did when I worked down in Riverside, of course, I was assigned to do it by my captain. Says, you will also teach an ROP law enforcement class. I said, I'm too busy, Captain. And she said, Tough, make it work. Get some people to help you. Get some people to get credentials. So what I did is I worked with the people at our county with ROP. And they were very helpful. And as a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen that ended up coming to Sacramento many, many years ahead of me, worked and represented the state in the ROP programs. So when I got up here, I ended up working for a while for San Juan Unified School District at Del Campo, teaching an ROP law enforcement class, and worked with people out there in the law enforcement area and the courts, the DA's office, and got to see what it would take. And I saw and worked with other people that are ROP programs, and I don't know how familiar you are with those, but they're important. And you got me on another thing I've got to talk about. Junior colleges. Junior colleges teach people from 18 to 80.
Right.
It's not just people that are young and trying to go on to a four-year college.
Right.
And people in that community can say, hey, I need some people in this area, and they'll create an ROP class, and that's supported by federal, state, county money. It doesn't come all from the county. And so the more that we can involve ourselves in training that is paid for by the state or the federal government, the better off we are here.
Well, since we're talking about public education, how do you feel about public education versus the private charter schools and the homeschooling?
Okay. You bring a smile to my face on that. I've been on our school district now for 12 years, and as you know, we have a charter school that is right next door to Buckeye, the original school in our school district. The same people have been running that since they were in there, and I'll give them credit, very successfully. They have been a very important thing for this community. That gives people, kids, and adults choices, and that's important. We saw it to the point where we now have our own Montessori at Blue Oak Elementary School, where we have that program grows every year. It's presently 1 through 4, and they're trying to add to the 5th grade to it soon. They have approached us before. We have held back at this time, but I think that'll happen soon. We also recently just had another charter school approach us, and they didn't really have their act together completely, so we justifiably turned them down.
Right.
Because naturally you have the teachers union pretty much against that sort of thing.
Yes.
But what it did is they found out what they had to do, what they needed to do. They got the assistance through professional help, and now we have another charter school that we in Buckeye Union School District will be responsible for, and it's located in El Dorado Hills. And so I do believe that kids and parents need to have a choice to how they want their kids educated.
Okay, good. So so it's a choice issue in this particular case. Yeah, absolutely. Change the subject a little bit. What's your feeling on term limits for supervisors?
Well, it's not a problem for me because I'm a little older and I don't plan on being around as far as in the supervisor position for 12 years. There's a great possibility that I'd be healthy enough to do it for 8 years. And if I have that opportunity, I would have to give it great consideration. But right now, I don't need to commit on 8 years. I'd like to commit my full attention. Thank you for bringing that up to this job. Right now, I have my own business. I have a business license since I moved in here for PI. and security. But when I do get this job, I will suspend that and work full-time, basically, as a Board of Supervisor. That brings me to another point. I don't know if you're going to get to it. They're a little overpaid at this point in time compared to other counties in this area. And that is something that I haven't decided on a number, either percentage or dollar-wise. But one of my first things that I want to try to do is to bring us to, and let me see, I think I have some words down here that I used, a fair range and an average within the counties in our area to bring our pay down. I noticed we didn't have that much of a problem letting some county employees go and not giving them pay raises over the last half a dozen years here.
Right,
So I think that the Board of Supervisors needs to adjust their compensation area.
So what I see with the Board of Supervisors is there's a set salary, and then what comes through is all the per diem and the other extras that get involved with that. And I believe somebody did a study. I'm not going to don't hold me to it, folks out there, but it's over $100,000 by the time they're done.
Well, you know, I'm really comfortable with my lifestyle now. My wife works hard. I worked hard during my career. You know, I get enough Social Security to pay for a few good meals, and I get a little bit from my teaching ROP. I don't really have any retirement from my college at all.
Right.
I didn't. They have now for part-time, but I worked part-time 20 years, and there was no real
There was
retirement.
nothing, right.
And I get a pretty decent. Of course, I retired before the 3% for law enforcement. I didn't like get the big percentages that they get now by any means.
Yeah.
But and actually, my first marriage, I'm still basically paying a large part of my. Okay. People may be able. I've been married to this one almost 27 years. I think I'll keep her. She's just. I don't know how she puts up.
Good for her.
I love her very much. But okay, I'm not in a push to buy anything big or new. If I can maintain what I have, I'm fine. I think that that per diem thing does get out of line, and but there is one thing that maybe this is my time to bring it up. We need to have more coordination between our supervisors. They need to go to school themselves to learn how to be better supervisors. I know as a school board member, I go to the School Boards Association. They have conferences on a regular basis, so they have training on a regular basis. We're required to do that. I know they have such things available to Board of Supervisors, but I'm told they've chosen not to involve themselves in that.
Well, I can't say for sure. Now, I know for your first term, it's very important. I mean, I've had a number of opportunities to sit on different commissions in the county before some of the laws changed. And I know that when I became Transportation Commission chairman, I went to a short seminar, one-day seminar on how to run a transportation commission. And so, yeah, I know they're out there. And if our guys choose or not choose to go, I think it's bad on them, because we're already seeing an issue on the Board of Supervisors where maybe if they had bothered to go to one of these sessions, we wouldn't have the problems that we're having now. And
yes, for the protection of themselves and the protection of our county.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me at this day and age, I don't understand how difficult it is to know what the Brown Act is all about and behave in such a way. I mean, we never sat, all together. Even when we went to lunch, we did not want the perception, that you're going to violate that Brown Act, and you have to be careful with it. And sometimes these guys I don't understand.
I've been through the initial training on the Brown Act and have the refreshment classes, and I do attend those, and I think that the money that's allotted for that is important. It shouldn't be abused, but I don't think there's a time that I haven't gone to one of those conferences that I didn't learn something.
Right.
And we don't go every year. We've had budget problems too, so we held back and couldn't send everybody. We always managed to send one or two, and I think it's important that it's a good refresher, and you're always going to learn something new. And I hear that they have, as a group, I don't want to name out individuals, but haven't participated in some of that training that is available to them.
Yeah, that may very well be. And one of the arguments that I have with sometimes some of the training is location, that they choose these things. They want to make them look great so that they'll come. So they'll put them in Monterey or Santa Barbara or all these nice places where, one, it costs a lot of money to get to, and two, yeah, it's a beautiful place to come, but that's not why you're supposed to be there. And I think they can do a better job of picking those locations for all of those seminars. And I'm not the only one who's complaining about it.
So true. That's where they have them because they, well, you know what? They want to attract people to come, and they do that sort of thing.
So, let's talk about taxes, because one of the things that happens in El Dorado County is we love to call things fees when they're not really fees. They're straight out taxes. One of the big ones that are in the headlines right now is our fire suppression fee that we pay. What's your feeling on that?
Just paid that myself here very recently, as a matter of fact. And I don't know if you're familiar with right where I live in off a meter there, but there's no real trees right close around where I'm at. I mean, they're down the way, but still, it's. We need to have some of these fire departments combined, just like we need to have school districts combined. And if they can't combine their boards, which we've all tried to do, and they want local controls, we need to maybe try to utilize the same services. I know that in Buckeye Union School District, our transportation head now is also the head for rescue, and it's worked out to be a great deal for both the school districts. We've saved a lot of money, and it's been very efficient, and they've worked together just fine. We also do some of the food service that way.
Right.
And so there's a lot of ways that we can combine these things to lessen the tax burden on the residents, and we need to be able to look to those things on a regular basis. Things change. You might look and say, there's nothing now, but in 6 months there might be. We need to constantly be looking for ways that we can not put such a tax burden and to keep people from moving here.
People make the point that El Dorado County is business unfriendly. I think they're homeowner unfriendly as well, because if you look at our fees, when let's say you want to develop a lot, okay, you've got the regular TIM fees, you have the EID hookup fees, you have the fire department fees that come involved there. You got the planning department fees, environmental fees. By the time you haven't even put a shovel in the ground yet, you're $25,000 to $40,000 into the issue.
Well, that has really the person that just wants to build their own house or wants to build some custom houses can't afford to do that.
That's right.
That's why the only people we have wanting to build out here are large groups of people. Now, the area that I live in, they were all very nice homes, but the guy that built mine, he built just 7 in there. Now he doesn't build over here in El Dorado County anymore. He was in the county next door in Placer. So we need to make it so a person or a private person who wants to build a few houses can afford to do that without costing him a fortune before he even gets that first shovel in the ground.
Yeah, it's just a shame. And okay, so we go on the side of saying, hey, why don't we stay rural? So we don't want any more houses. I understand that. But doggone it, people, there's pockets where we already have the plan, and in the general plan, where we can grow those homes. Yeah. And it's not hodgepodge. There's specific areas. Serrano's a good example of it, in other areas like that. And so when I constantly go down the road and I see the sign, keep it rural, stop it rural, make it rural. But you know what? They're already here, so it's easy for them to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, they have theirs.
Yeah, and we don't want you to have yours.
Yeah,
that's the
unfortunate.
problem.
I have a bunch of great neighbors where I am at, and they don't leave homes vacant there. When there's one up for sale, it goes. And, it's a beautiful neighborhood, and our schools are great. We were fortunate enough to pass a bond here, 5 years ago or so, and we have some beautiful schools now. We really do, and this would be a great place to raise kids, and it'd be nice to have maybe the grandkids raised here.
That'd be nice. Got to get those jobs.
So what we need is a junior college up here so we can keep the kids in town a little bit longer if possible, and so maybe they can find work, maybe even part-time while they're going to school. I worked the whole time I went to college, the first year and the rest of them. I think it was a character builder possibly, but it was worthwhile. I've had a great career. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I want to give back to society. That's kind of the way I feel, and I'm going to try to work to do that.
Well, we're getting on the 30-minute mark, and believe it or not, I got a whole bunch of other questions to ask you. But what we'll do is, if we get the opportunity, we'll do some more of this after the primary, because I think that's when the real hard issues need to come out. But I wanted to know Winston as Winston a little bit and give you folks out there a little bit to get to know him, because, you know, those flyers and all those other things, you don't really get to see him. And Winston, you did great. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And why don't you talk about, let's give your web address, how to contact you, and how to donate to your campaign.
Okay, thank you very much, Rob.
You bet.
I have a website at www.electwinstonpingrey.com. And it's got a lot of information, and it gives you an opportunity how to donate or how to get a hold of me. I'm available. I'm stuck to that cell phone also, and I appreciate any help that you figure that you might be able to give me. And if you have any questions that I might be able to answer to see how I feel, I'd be glad to talk to you. I'm spending a lot of time doing the campaigning, as the rest of them have. And, you know, I did catch a couple minutes of another one here. The people that I'm running against are all great people, and I know that you public have a great and difficult decision to make on who you choose, and I just hope that you give me the opportunity to serve as your county supervisor. And with that, I thank you again, Rob, for having me here.
You're welcome, Winston. I really appreciate you coming. Thank you very much, because it's people like you that makes this whole process works. You know, it's a little bit like I've told all of you out there, you need to vote. Don't be disenfranchised. It's important that you stay and vote for your supervisors, your school board, your judges is really important. We have a lot of issues facing us. I didn't even get to Winston on facilities, and that's a whole half an hour worth of talk about all on its own. So again, I want to thank you. This is Rob with Old Guy Tech TV Interviews. We interviewed Winston Pingrey today, and we'll see you soon.